Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about somebody very important that's going to be involved in this political fight that I see coming up here. Now, we still, at this point in time that I'm doing this, we still don't know who Biden's going to pick for his vice president. But we do know Nancy Pelosi's chart, and I'm assuming that we have the correct birth time. May not be right since for a long time I didn't see it, and then all of a sudden it's come up on some of the sites. So I'm going to use this birth time, and I think we're going to see a lot of things that I've been seeing. Maybe it's going to make more sense by looking at her chart. So many people say that if something happens to the president or the vice president, then the Speaker of the House is the president, which is Nancy Pelosi. So do we see anything coming about where she could come into the line of fire and become the president? I want to look at her chart and see what we can see that's coming about during the time of the coming elections here on November 3rd. So let's put up the chart of Nancy Pelosi and see what we can see. So looking at Nancy Pelosi, she was born March 26, 1940. And looking at her chart, I'm looking at Cancer as her lagna, as her ascendant. Wow, she's a pretty sensitive woman. It takes some really thick skin to be able to be in politics, and I wouldn't think a Cancer ascendant could handle all that, but she has. Pretty tough lady, and let me tell you something else along line with everyone else. She's even older. She's even older. She is 80 years old. Don't ask me how she has that kind of energy and stamina, but she does. She does. She is a strong lady, let's face it. So looking at her chart, pretty significant looking at her chart, she has Saturn and Uranus and Venus all in the 10th house of career. This is important. And I think it's important because what I see coming up here on the day that elections are due, November 3rd, let's throw in the transit of Jupiter. Jupiter will be on that day 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And if you will notice, there are a lot of planets in her chart that are 27 degrees. First of all, look where Venus is in her 10th house, her social standing, her career. We got Jupiter exactly trining her Venus, casting an aspect to Venus. That's wonderful. She's going to be very happy and pleased on that day. So something's going her way on that day. And Jupiter will be right there in her 6th house, which the 6th house is actually the house of enemies. But Jupiter is a little soft being there. In other words, we want some hardcore planets to be able to fight the enemies, but Jupiter's soft. And looking at where Saturn is in the 7th house. Remember I said the 7th house is opponents. So Saturn being in Capricorn, the opponents are strong. The opponents are difficult. That's Saturn. So no doubt about that. But also what I want you to pay attention to is even her Rahu and her Ketu are both 27 degrees in her natal chart. Rahu is at 27 degrees of Virgo, and Ketu is at 27 degrees of Pisces. The reason why this is significant is Jupiter sits right at the midpoint of Rahu and Ketu. That's incredible. That is like something very positive that comes around in her favor with Jupiter at the culprit of her nodal axis. This is powerful. This is strong. This is something that she's wanting that's coming forth. Now, I know she's been pressing for the mail-in votes. I guess it's going to happen. And something else is going to happen that's going to be all in her favor. Probably with all of this, it looks like the Democrats are going to come into power. That's what it looks like from her chart. Now, also, I want to look to her ascendant. It looks like her ascendant is even at 27 degrees of Cancer. But, you know, Jupiter is 6 from the ascendant. This is still a struggle. It's not going to be easy for her at all. But she's still coming on strong. And I would have to say, Jupiter being in her 6th house, she's strong. She's got vitality. It's happening. But don't forget, by November 20th, Jupiter's going to shift into the 7th house. And this makes her opponents really strong with Jupiter and Saturn in the 7th. Now, another thing that I want to make reference to, the reason why I think so much calamity is going to be happening during the time of these elections is based on where Mars is. Transiting Mars will station to go direct November 14th at 21 degrees of Pisces. Now, throw Mars in the mix here in her chart, transiting Mars, and you will see it is right by her Jupiter and her Sun and her Ketu. This is transiting Mars. Now, here's the issue that I think is important. As Mars has been going over her Ketu, back and forth as it's been going direct, retrograde, direct. Every time it's been going Gandanta, it's been crossing over her Ketu. In the 9th house, the 9th house deals with laws, rules, regulations, deals with our truths. And Mars crossing over her Ketu is very disturbing for what she believes in. This is tough. But I looked it up, and looks like when we hit December 8th, that will be when Mars will be right there at 24 degrees of Pisces. If you plug Mars into her chart, 24 degrees of Pisces, it is sitting on her Jupiter. And Jupiter does rule the 9th house. She is not happy at this time. So remember what I'm saying. December 8th, there's a huge turning point. Not only, though, is Mars going to be on her Jupiter, but it is going to be aspecting her moon by its 8th full aspect. And the 8th house is about endings. It's about death. It's about something happens completely different than what was happening around election day. So once again, we see a big turn of events from her chart. So Mars being on her Jupiter, but Mars aspecting her moon, she's very upset about something. But usually the moon is a female. So maybe something's going on with a female, but not always. Emotionally, she will be charged, and emotionally, she is going to be very, very upset about something. Now, her moon, remember, does rule her chart. She's a Cancer Lagna, Cancer ascendant. So she's feeling really distraught and disturbed about something. And the 4th house, where her moon is, it's called the seat of the soul. This is deep stuff. And it's also the house of happiness. Mars, with its 8th full aspect to her moon in the 4th house, she is not happy about something. And I get that there's a big turn of events. Now, another thing that will be transpiring a little later on, around the month of March, the end of February or March in 2021, transiting Mars will go into Taurus, and it will cross over her natal Mars, where Rahu already is. So in the 11th house, that's actually her friends, her supporters, the powerful people that she knows that surrounds her. She's going to feel like they're letting go, or there's something like someone that she knows is very powerful, something will end. And I see a big change of events coming, not only from election day, but to inauguration day, through again around the time of the end of February and March. But let me move you up to Election Day, because remember, on Election Day we have that wild aspect that we're going to have Mars and Uranus conjunct in Aries. I believe they're around 12 degrees, and they're going to be in her 10th house, somewhere around there. So what is that? Mars and Uranus represents a sudden, unexpected shift and change of events in her work and her career. Again, we see something that we cannot predict, that is so radical and so shifting we can't even imagine it. That's how I see this. But it looks like from the get-go, on Election Day, it looks pretty promising for the Democrats, for her. But then by the time Mars goes back and forth between her 9th and her 10th house, that's where things are about to shift. Now, this isn't just a regular transiting Mars. This is a stationary Mars, where it's stationing 2 different placements, one time in Aries and one time in Pisces, and then it will move back into Aries. So between September, between now really, through February, we have Mars that's only going to be in Pisces and Aries back and forth. And these placements are detrimental to all of the charts that I have been looking at concerning the elections. So I still feel like there's going to be something that's disturbing for the Republicans at first, and then the Democrats. So add these things up and see if there isn't this big shift of one gain and then a loss that's about to come for both political parties. These are going to be monumental changes, like things we've never, ever seen before. So with that, for now, I'd like to close. So if you would like to sign up for my free newsletter or learn more about me, sign up for a consultation. Go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Or if you would like to learn my online university, Learn Vedic Astrology, go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.